Hello, welcome back to Math at Marvin's, day 2 of our learning new material. Today we're going to spend some time going over the problems I gave you. Got some emails of some people getting stuck on 1 and 3. Here's the deal, like usual, I like to give you some of the tools and then throw some of the some more complicated problems at you. Number 3 was kind of a tough one. I want to see how we kind of would handle it. Been getting a lot of good questions. As I told you, I'll go through them today, or at least show you the work today, so that way you can make sure what you're doing is correct with where we need to be. After that, we'll do probably a couple more problems of elimination, and we'll call it a day. Okay, maybe throw a word problem in there on you. And then your homework will be some IXLs. Okay, so let's get started with the problems I gave you. First one was the example I talked about early in the lesson. I said, hey, there's going to come a time where you're going to get something in a form like this. Now, it's not really one of our forms, but the variables don't line up, so we can't just shift it over. We need to do our actual rules and say, like, okay, I probably want to get x and y on the same side. So I add x, so what I end up with is x minus 2y equals -1. And now I have everything lined up, and I can find what I can eliminate. In this case, opposite signs, I like the negative and the positive y, so I'm just going to multiply the top one by 2. Get rid of that, so I get 4x here plus 2y equals 8. Now what I have, now that I have opposite signs, I can go ahead and add. I don't know why I made that an x. Let's add there. So now when I go to add x plus 4x, I get 5x, 2y, negative 2y cancels, -1 and 8 equals 7. Okay. That means we have a fraction problem. That's okay though. Okay. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. We should get x equals 7/5. So not a terrible fraction. Not real pretty, but hey, it works. So now I need to plug that back in. I'm probably just going to do it for the top one where there's not a lot going on. So that way it's smaller numbers. Actually, the bottom one's not bad either, but you do have to multiply the x by 2. I like that the x is by itself here. So I'm going to plug it in there. I get -2y equals -7/5 minus 1. All I have to do is change that to a common denominator. So a quick refresher on fractions, right? I have 5 here, so I need to make that 5 or over 5. To make it over 5, it's going to be 5 over 5. So I have -7/5 minus 5 over 5, which ends up being -12 over 5 with a -2y. Okay. This is where this one got tough. This is why this problem's a little bit of a challenge, because I believe that I have faith that you guys can do fractions, you can get to here. But then when we go to divide by -2, we need to remember that dividing by -2 is the same as multiplying by -1/2. So what I'm really saying is times -1 over 2, and then I multiply across, and what I should get is y equals positive 12 over 10, which is 6/5. Okay, so that's what I should end up with. I'll let you see that there if you need it. Okay, so tougher problem with a lot of fractions, but I mean, really, other than fractions, it's our steps. Okay, so go ahead, get that one down. Okay, and one last thing I want to say about this. Couple emails I got. Very proud of some of you. They decided, oh, I can't figure it out, or I got an answer, but it doesn't feel right. They went to Desmos, graphed these 2 lines, and clicked on the intersection. Okay? Good news. That's a great tool to use on any assessments I might give you over this time we're at home. I'm not with you. I can't really, I can't keep you from using it, so why wouldn't you use your tools? Okay? You plug it in, you'll find that Desmos only does decimals, so you would have to divide this out and find that's 1.4 and 1.2. But those are what the answers are, so you're good to go. Okay. Second one was pretty on par with what we did in the lesson. I just need to pick one. Whoops, I have two opposite signs here, so either one's going to work. I have negative x, negative y, positive y. So I need to pick which one I want to use. I'm going to do x's, so I'm going to multiply the top equation by 2. What I get is negative 4x plus 10y equals 24. Now when we go to add, negative positive cancels, negative positive cancels, and so I end up with a 0 on the left and a 54 on the right. So now with no variables left, I need to decide what do I call this? What is this? So 0 equals 54, you'd look at that and say, okay, that's not true. Therefore, we have to say that this is a no solution problem. Okay, no solution. Okay? And again, because I don't want you to be robots, also remember what that means. Oh, I'm talking about parallel lines. Two lines that never intersect, and they're not on top of each other. They're not the same line, therefore no solutions. Okay? Last one, this was a challenge one. Here's the deal. Sometimes you're not going to only have to make one move to get them to line up. Sometimes I'm going to have all my numbers not necessarily multiply into each other, but I can multiply both equations and get two all new ones. So if I look here and I go, okay, negative y, positive y, a 3 and a 2, I can make both of those 6s. So the top equation, I'm going to multiply by 2. The bottom equation, I'm going to multiply by 3. So I'm going to get two completely new equations. So what I get is 8x plus 6y equals negative 38. Okay? Second equation is going to be 9x minus 6y equals negative 30. Okay? So now what I end up with, as I go through, I now add, because I have my positive negative, so I end up with 17x equals negative 68. We're hoping 17 goes into 68, otherwise this is going to be a really, really ugly fraction. Okay? So what I do here, divide by 17, last step, x equals, good news, negative 4. Ooh. Well, that was close. Should set that down where it can't fall anymore. Okay? Last step, I have my x value. Plug it in. So I'm going to pick this one, 50-50, your shot. Neither one of them has a benefit in my eyes. I'm going to do the bottom one, so I get 3 times negative 4 equals, minus 2y equals negative 10. And now I can solve negative 12 minus 2y equals negative 10. Add 12, you end up with negative 2y equals 2. Therefore, y equals negative 1. And my point of intersection is negative 4, negative 1. Okay? So that's what we needed to do there. That's how you get that answer out. Good news again, if you needed to, plug it in at Desmos, you should find the same thing. If you find something different, or if maybe you were trying this, you had an answer and you found that you were wrong, my advice on that case is go back and restart the whole thing. Wipe all your work. This is one of those lessons where it's really tough if you've started the process to go back and pinpoint your exact error. It's much easier to just reset and take the time to do that. You'll end up saving time in the long run. Okay, but those are your answers you should have gotten on your practice problems. Okay, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put a new problem up on the board. We're going to go through that together and then call it good. And then I'll let you do some IXL as your homework. Okay. All right. Here's our last example for this lesson. Word problem. A theater club sells tickets to a show. Students are $1. Adults are $2.50. They sold 101 tickets for a total of $164. How many student tickets were sold? So, a couple steps we need to go through. Okay. 1, determine our variables. Okay. Determine our variables. So we look at this problem, we go, okay, I know what ticket prices are, so it's not that. I know the totals, can't be that. Best place to look is at the question. How many student tickets were sold? Oh, so that's got to be one of my variables. Well, then you just think from there, what's the opposite of student ticket in this case? Well, it's an adult ticket. So we know our variables are X, and we'll make that student tickets, and Y, which is adult tickets. Okay? Step 2 is going to be to determine the totals. Okay? You want to find two things that are totals in this problem, things that like you're going to put on the right side of the equation. In this case, you see and you go, oh, okay, they sold a total of $164. The reason this is important is we now know what goes on the right side of one of our equations. And then the other total is, oh, I see they sold a total of 101 tickets. So that's going to be the other right side of my equation. Okay? Last step here is basically fill in the equations. So now we just take the information and we go, okay, they got a total of $164. Well, what's going to make up the dollars? Well, the dollars are going to be made by the $1 student tickets. Oh, and we know the number of student tickets is X. So it's going to be 1 times X, and we're going to add that to the amount of adult money made. So it's going to be $250 times however many adult tickets we sold, which we don't know. So we call that Y. So we have one equation. X plus 250Y is 164. Okay? Similarly, on the bottom, we say, okay, 101 total tickets sold. Well, that's just going to be the sum of adult tickets and student tickets. Well, X and Y are adult and student tickets, so the bottom one in most of our word problems is just going to be X plus Y equals 101. Okay? Which makes for a pretty easy elimination problem because we see here I have 1x and 1x. Oh, I just need to make one of them negative. So I'm going to make the whole bottom equation negative. Right? And I did it in a pretty short step. I'd allow you to do that. What I really did is I multiplied by -1. Okay? So that's allowed. I changed everything in that one equation. Now I can add. When I go to add, 1x negative x cancels. 250y, 2.50y minus y, so minus 1y is 1.50y. And I take away 101 from 164, which leaves me with a total of, it looks like 63. 63. So now, when I divide that, I divide 63 by 1.50, I should get my answer by 1.5. And y equals, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to need to check this one to make sure I don't make an error and teach you something wrong. So let me pull up my calculator on my phone here. 63 divided by 1.5 is a total of 42. 42. And again, don't be a robot. That's not y. Y, well, technically, yes, y is 42, but I don't want you to think that. I want you to think, what does that mean? Well, that means that I sold 42 adult tickets. Okay? Now, you could plug it back in, which is basically what we're going to do, or you can just use your common sense here and go, oh, really? That means whatever 101 minus 42 is, that has to be the remaining amount of tickets sold that goes to the students. So in this case, it looks like it's going to be 59. Okay, 59. So the answer to our question is, they sold 59 student tickets. Okay, 59 student tickets. And that's how you solve it. Like in most word problems, the toughest part about this, the one place where I see a lot of problems, where we've done this before, again, is setting this up. Remembering how to set up your two equations. Okay? So, make sure you're doing, oh, excuse me, now I got the hiccups. Make sure you're doing that correctly. Otherwise, I'm going to let you go with your homework, which is to do U10 to 80%. There is no word problems on there. It's just practicing using elimination. Go ahead and get that done. Otherwise, we will start on Friday with new lesson of inequalities. If you have questions, email me. I'm sorry if I wasn't very helpful. I know I answered some of you that, hey, I'm going to do this, do the practice problems on the board to start the next lesson. I'll try and be a little more, I'll try and answer your questions immediately, even if we are going to go over it. I'll send you some work. I'll send you a picture of my work done out. Please keep asking questions. Use Desmos. Use your friends. Use Google. I mean, Google stuff if you need it. And then the other piece is I also, if you just want to leave a comment on here, I do respond to comments on this video. If you don't want to email me, just go down into the video, put a comment there. I try and respond to every one of those and try and get answers out that way. The reason I like that a little better is if your classmates have the same question, they can look in the comments, they can see what you asked and then see my response, and you might be helping a classmate out that wasn't quite comfortable asking. Okay? Otherwise, feel free to just leave any comment if you want. Feel free to like this if you'd like. Try and start my YouTube career. I'm kidding. I'm not. But leave a comment. Email me if you just want to say what's up. Tell me what you've been up to. Tell me a good movie to watch maybe. Something like that. Something to kill time here. If you didn't notice, I do my quarantine stats down in the bottom. I've been racking up a lot of hours on movies and video games. Otherwise, enjoy your time. Let me know if you need anything. Get this done. I will be checking on it and putting just and kind of marking in the grade book who's turned it or who's done it and who hasn't. I'm not saying I'm grading it. Don't take it that way. Don't get me in trouble for that. But let me know if you need anything. Have a good day.